Today, I figured we would unbox this AR-15 that I just picked up. I didn't even know this existed until about a week ago, so I went ahead and ordered it because it had a few cool little features that I thought stuck out to me at least. I have a couple of upgrades that I'm actually gonna do today. And in case you're new here, I will have a list for everything that we're talking about. That link will actually be pinned in the comments, or it'll be the first link in the video description. It's just there in case you want it. If you guys with a keen eye in the beginning, you probably recognized the pattern on the box and knew what it was. It's a Palmetto State Armory rifle, but it's a rifle that I've never seen offered from them before. And so that's why I picked it up and I wanted to check it out and see what was going on with it. Now, obviously the camera is pretty close, so I'm just gonna quickly unbox this. So here's the rifle itself. You'll notice that it is gray, which is my favorite color. It comes with a goodie bag right here, and it comes with a sticker in case that's something you're into. In the goodie bag here, you get more stickers. Surprise, surprise. You also get one magazine, you get your cable lock, you get a sight adjustment tool for the MBUS sights that are on here, and then you get the operating instructions in case you don't know how to operate one. So this is a 16-inch AR-15 rifle, and this is under Palmetto State Armory's custom line. I don't know how custom it is, but hey, I saw it and I thought it was kind of interesting because there is a couple of upgrades that are on here that are beyond their other rifles. On the barrel, you got your standard A2 flash hider. Nothing special there. I will probably be changing that out later. Then the barrel is a 16-inch chromoly vanadium steel barrel chambered in 5.56 NATO, 1-in-7 twist. Nothing too fancy there. And it's phosphate treated for durability. And it has the 15-inch M-LOK rail on here. And I thought it was kind of interesting. I like thinner rails, to be honest with you. And I like rails that kind of go the entire length of the barrel. To me, it just looks more complete that way. The upper is billet. It's 6061 T6 aluminum, and it's Teflon coated for durability. I'm just reading from their website, just so you know. I'm not saying this stuff off the top of my head. And they are made in the USA, so that's cool. You know, everything's made in the USA. And then the lower, it is forged just like a standard one using a 7075 T6 aluminum. It's also Teflon coated and mil spec, all that stuff. A couple of things that really stuck out to me about this is, number one, they do have a couple of different colors on their website. They have a ton of colors. The main four colors that it comes in are gray, coyote, they have tan, and OD green. You know, those are the main, I guess, mainstay colors. And then they have some other, they got some stuff that I think is kind of hideous, to be honest with you, like this one right here. I'm not a fan of that kind of stuff. I think it's gaudy. But they do have it, just in case that's something you're there for. A couple of things that stuck out to me on here. You do get your MBUS flip-up sights on the front and the rear. You also get a 45-degree ambidextrous safety, and that's kind of interesting. That's something that I was fascinated in trying. I haven't seen Palmetto State Armory offer that, and so I was interested in trying that out. Then, for the trigger, they have the Palmetto State Armory AR trigger, which I thought was kind of fascinating. I'll zoom it in for you a little bit. This is a trigger that I've been wanting to try for a while, and I've actually been getting a ton of you guys requesting it in the comments of other videos. It's a single stage trigger. It is a drop-in unit, and they are using some hex pins right here, so they don't walk out on you. So I'm assuming those are Loctited in, but we can check that later. No take up on it. There's the brake. Here's the reset. Brake. Feels pretty good. It is slightly gritty. I'm assuming it's just going to need to be broken in a little bit, but we will see, time will tell. Up here on the top, we have a standard charging handle. We have a Magpul Mo stock, which is my least favorite stock of all time. Main reason I don't like this stock is this. It's the wobbliest stock in the world. I wish they would replace that with something a little bit better. But nonetheless, Magpul stock. We got a Magpul grip on here. I think it's just a standard Magpul Mo grip. We got the Magpul trigger guard. For the bolt carrier group back here, it's nothing special, but it's a decent bolt carrier. Now, this is fresh out of the box. I have not oiled this at all yet. The standard Palmetto State Armory bolt carrier group. I can tell on the top of it, it is Carpenter 158 steel. It is marked there, magnetic particle inspected. And I believe these are high pressure tested as well. And for those of you that might be new, or maybe you used to Palmetto State Armory way back in the day, they bought Toolcraft. And Toolcraft it was a manufacturer of the majority, I wouldn't say all, they were the OEM manufacturer for a lot of bolt carrier groups that go into a lot of higher end brands that you know of today. I'm not gonna list them off because I don't know all of them and I don't wanna accidentally misquote one of them in case they didn't manufacture them. But Palmetto State Armory bought that company and now they're manufacturing toolcraft bolt carrier groups. So that's kind of cool. The thing that's throwing me off a bit about this Carpenter 158 steel is on their website, when I look at the listing from where I picked this one up, it says that it's a nitride treated 8620 bolt, but the bolt says Carpenter 158. Either way, I'm glad I got Carpenter 158 steel. That's a really good steel to have. But I just wanted to bring that up because I don't know if they're coming with Carpenter 158 or are they coming with 8620. Kind of confusing, right? This one, I believe, was $998 complete. And that's not too bad considering the upgrades that you get with it, with the upgraded trigger, ambi, safety. It's also Cerakoted in gray. And Cerakote jobs are, about $100 to $200, if you just took one into somebody. And it all depends on whether or not you took the gun apart or not, but that's just something to keep in mind. Cerakote does cost money. So that's cool to know. I like that it came with sights. I like that it came with this trigger and this safety and that it was Cerakote. I thought that was kind of good. I thought that was a pretty decent deal for $998. Now, a couple of things that I look at whenever I buy an AR-15 or even if I'm building an AR-15, I will be taking this handguard off later, but I look at the alignment of the gas block right here. You don't really got to take it off. You can usually just kind of eyeball it by looking down and going straight. Also has stainless steel gas tube just to make sure, because there has been one instance and it wasn't my rifle, it was a buddy's rifle. I believe it was a DPMS and this was back in 2015. He had a bunch of issues with his. His was canted to the side a little bit, then we fixed it. And then it still wouldn't cycle, and then it had to do with the bolt carrier group. I'll show you in a second because that's actually going to bring me to my next point in a minute. Another thing I like to look at, I really like to look at these feed ramps right where my finger's touching right there. I like to make sure that the barrel isn't overhanging the feed ramps that are in the upper. If that's the case, sometimes you will have some malfunctions. And the other thing that I check is, and I don't have the gauges right now, I lent them to a friend and I just got to get them back. It's always important to get a set of go and no-go gauges just to test, to make sure that everything's in spec. And even on a fully assembled gun, I've seen higher end guns that were out of spec that failed the go and no-go test. And that's all has to do with your head spacing that's up here. I'm not gonna go into it further than that, but I just wanted you guys to know that is something that's important to check on a new rifle. A couple of other things that I like to check. We already kind of looked at this trigger right here, and then the safety. Now the safety is kind of interesting. It is a 45-degree safety. I think that's very nice. It is ambidextrous. But I am noticing that when my finger is right here, especially if I'm in my actual firing grip, that it hits my finger. You see that? It's hitting it. And it really annoys me. One of my favorite safeties of all time are these Radian safeties. I have them on a bunch of my guns, but you can see when I'm in the firing grip, it doesn't hit. And it's because these are shorter and a little bit more ergonomic than this one is, but hey, for the price, it's not too bad. I might upgrade that to a Radian later. I'm not sure yet. Another thing that I look for, and it's just something that I like to check for, it's on the bolt carrier group. Going back to, I was talking about my buddy's gun a minute ago that had a lot of cycling issues. His gas port was kind of kinked to the side. We fixed that, went back out to shoot, and it was still not cycling. And it turned out his gas key was loose. His gas key wasn't properly staked. And if we look at this one, I can see that it is staked pretty decently well. It's not like crazy, but it's enough on the sides to prevent these screws from backing out. So I like to check for that. Another thing I check for is the gas rings. If you want to do this yourself with your AR-15 or any AR-15, if you pull the bolt out like that, then you just stand it like that. If it stays standing up, the gas rings are good. If it collapses like that, whenever you stand it up, then your gas rings need to be replaced. So everything's passing right now, so that's a good thing. The other thing I check for is receiver play. between the upper and the lower. And I'll be honest, there ain't nothing. It ain't budging. There's zero play, and that's pretty impressive for an affordable like rifle. I need to lube this bolt up and bolt carrier just a little bit before we put it back in the gun, because these do come bone dry from the factory. That's the great thing about the AR-15 is it just loves to run wet. You know, if you ever have a malfunction, throw some lube on it. Usually it will fix it. You know, lube this bolt up really good. This is where the majority of the friction is on an AR. Pig all nice and wet. I'm gonna have to order some more of this stuff. I'm running out. All right, so I wanted to move on to, before I put that back together, I'm gonna be really honest with you. Not a big fan of the standard charging handles. Nothing against Palmetto, just not a fan of these. And a buddy of mine actually makes these. And these are more of a novelty, but they are legit charging handles. So I'll have a link to where you can pick these up. This would probably make a cool gift for somebody, you know, for Christmas. It's basically a charging handle with an extended latch, but the extended latch is also a bottle opener. And then this is kind of like, you remember those slap bands you used to get as a kid, you know, at the fair and stuff? This is basically a koozie for whatever bottle you're drinking, and you just slap it around, and it makes a pretty cool wristband, I guess. This is from my buddies at Calculated Kinetics. I've been kind of working with them for a while. They make the plates for the MOS, and they're making the plates for the new AREX as well. But they made me this, and I don't drink, so I'm just gonna put it in my gun. They don't condone drinking and, you know, handling guns, but it's, you could either buy it for somebody as a charging handle, or you could buy it for yourself as a charging handle, or you could buy it for somebody if they just like to drink beer and they just want to use it as that, keep it in the man cave. Things like that. I don't know if this specific one's available. He just made it for me. I guess it was a custom one-off, but I do think you can customize them. I'm not 100% sure. I'll have the link to the website so you can go check it out. But I am gonna install this because I like extended latches. Looks kind of interesting with that big old charging handle on there, huh? It's easy to pull though. We'll see how it actually performs in the real world. A couple of things that we are gonna install today. Brownells now makes a couple of scopes. I have one on my AR-10 308, and then I have this one. This is the Brownells Match Precision Optic. It is a 1:8 by 24, and I believe the tube here is 30 millimeters, so you'd need 30 millimeter mounts. These are not the mounts that I'm gonna keep. These are just the mounts that I have at the moment. I am gonna get a cantilever mount to put on here, and I'll have links to the mounts and stuff that I'm gonna get as well. Interesting thing about this, it's made in Japan and it has Japanese glass. The reason it's using Japanese glass is Brownells designed this for hunting whenever you're in low light, and Japanese glass allows more light through it. It's using something called a duplex reticle. I'm not gonna get into all the cool stuff about it, but you know, it has the duplex reticle. The turrets on here are actually very nice. Nice and clicky, nice and tactile, and it is illuminated, but it's not quite daylight bright. The cool thing though is it does come with this little lever right here for magnifying it, and it is very nice. I've tried a few of these different ones from different brands, and sometimes you gotta buy like a clamp to go around it to get this little knob here. This one you don't, and it's not too tight, nor is it too loose. It's almost just right. Interesting thing about this, and this is something I'm gonna have to learn. This doesn't use minute of angle / MOA. It uses mil-dot, and I don't understand it 100%, so I'm still learning, and we will make a video that goes more in depth on it. Essentially, minute of angle is the American system, and mil-dot is kind of like the metric system. And if it's anything like the metric system in general, then it should be a ton easier to use than MOA, because in math and science, everybody uses the metric system because, well, it's heck a lot easier and you can convert everything so much easier. So I'm excited to try this guy out. Another little upgrade that I'm gonna do right now is I kind of had a couple of parts left over from when we did the 300 blackout build for that AR pistol. They sent me a bunch of stuff and I was like, well, I can't put all of this on the pistol. So I'm just gonna put like this hand stop type thing up here onto the rifle. And this is made for M-LOK. So, you know, it shouldn't be too big of a deal. The M-lock piece won't go into place because of the gas block right there. So I might leave it on for now, but I might just buy just a forward grip to put on here in the future. I'm not sure, but you know, that's kind of the couple of upgrades I'm gonna do now. But let's jump up top. I do wanna talk about some of my predictions with this gun and some things that I'm definitely going to be upgrading in the future. Back up top. Let's talk about the predictions I have with this rifle. Number one, I can already predict that this stock thing is gonna annoy the crap out of me. The stock, I hate that. Especially considering how good of a job they did on making sure that the upper and the lower doesn't have any play in it. It just doesn't make sense to have this stock. I don't know, maybe this is just the cheapest thing that they can get to throw on there. Maybe that's a place where they cut corners, I don't know. It seems that they offer this stock on all of their guns, regardless of what it is. So far, in the hand, it doesn't feel too bad. It's obviously not a lightweight AR-15. It's not a heavyweight, it's just standard, right? So coming up from low ready, I can already tell that the front end is a little bit heavy. Not bad, it's just a little bit front heavy. Obviously we can't lighten that up unless we change out the handguard for something that's carbon fiber or something like that. I do have a feeling that it's gonna run just fine, but how I like it, it's gonna be hard to tell. The safety, I can tell you, kind of like I showed you up close, when I'm coming up from low ready, right, to do this, so, okay, every time I do that, it digs into my finger right here. Whereas with all of my other guns that have the Radian ambidextrous safety, they're not like that. Like I can just come up and go bang and it doesn't hit my finger. So depending on how that goes at the range, might have to swap that guy out. But the two things that I'm 100% swapping out is the stock and this muzzle device. I am gonna put like a brake on it, something that makes it shoot a little bit flatter. I'll try to choose a brake where I can get the adapter so I can redirect all the concussive forces down range instead of to my sides, just in case I'm at an indoor range. But with that said, they do make a couple of different options for this. I kind of mentioned the different colors. In addition to different colors, they have one that's made out of CNC for both the upper and the lower, where everything is just beautiful and dead sexy. Those are quite a bit more money than these. And then they have one that's CNC'd that comes with the Romeo 5 red dot, and that's probably the most expensive one. I think they're around $1,400 or $1,500, but this one for $998, it's not bad. I've definitely seen a lot worse for the price point. Now, I do want to kind of address something that I've kind of been noticing a trend on Instagram recently. On this channel, I just like to test things. I don't typically become like a brand whore just for the sake of the brand or the clout that that brand will give me. I just tend to go with things that work for me. There's been a trend on Instagram, just talking about how their Palmetto State Armory guns aren't good or they're falling apart. And the things that people are reporting, I've seen people report like their bolt breaking after so many rounds. I don't know how many rounds. I've heard of some other stuff too, nothing like crazy, but I'll be really honest with you guys. Like this is my third rifle from them. I have their AK, I have their AR pistol, now this. Then I have the PSA dagger, which is their Glock clone. I don't know if I've just gotten lucky, but I've had really good luck and all of their stuff works for me. And I also know that they're doing a lot better with their QC than they were like 5 or 6 years ago. I mean, obviously things are gonna slip through the cracks, but for the price point, they're really hard to beat, honestly. I would consider this, given that this thing shoots and functions good, we haven't done that yet, but if it does, I would say that this would be the perfect Christmas gift for somebody, even as a really good starter rifle. For $1,000, it's not too shabby. Could you do a little bit better? Maybe. If you can find good deals and things on sale, you might be able to, but overall, I'm excited to try this out. What are your thoughts of this guy down in the comments section? I'd love to hear your thoughts, guys. Do you think that Palmetto State Armory should do custom guns? I think it's kind of cool, but it doesn't really matter what I think, guys. It matters what you guys think. So let me know down in the comments. But if you like today's video, hit the little like button. If you dislike it, make sure you hit the dislike button twice. But anyways, guys, I love you. You guys stay sexy.